For decades, we've seen disruptors completely turn entire industries upside down. Taxis, hotels, media, you name it. But what if the next big industry ripe for disruption wasn't an industry at all, but an entire country? Today, we're jumping into a fascinating political case study that imagines a nation being run like a startup and asks a simple question. Is this the most audacious venture of all time? So picture this. It all starts with a single hypothetical post. No big press conference, no fancy convention, just a stark message on X. In an instant, the world's most famous disruptor declares war on the political establishment. And look, this isn't just another third-party run. It's a full-on assault on the very idea of how we think about government, right from first principles. And that really gets to the heart of what we're unpacking today. Is it actually possible to treat a nation like a company, a political system like an operating system? And can you really tackle its biggest problems like they're just an engineering challenge? All right, Section 1, a political bug report. To really get the logic behind a political startup, we've got to look at its founding philosophy. The core argument here is that the current system isn't just broken, it's running on old, buggy code that needs a complete rewrite from scratch. I mean, just think about the pattern here. People who support this idea, they point to space exploration. For years, it was dominated by what they saw as a slow, bloated government bureaucracy. So the solution wasn't to try and fix NASA from the inside. It was to build SpaceX and compete with it directly. And we see the exact same playbook with the auto industry, right? It was viewed as this dead-end technology, just propped up by the old guard. So the answer was to build Tesla. You can see the pattern they're laying out here is pretty clear. So if you follow this logic, the next target becomes obvious. From this point of view, the US government is the ultimate inefficient system. It's seen as running on outdated software, totally obsessed with short-term election cycles instead of, long-term survival. This entire approach comes down to something called first principles thinking. Basically, instead of arguing within the rules of the current political game, you tear it all down to its most basic truths, and then you build a whole new system from the ground up. It's an engineer's way of fixing a nation's bugs. Okay, Section 2. The government operating system. So if the problem is a flawed OS, what does the upgrade, let's call it Gov 2.0, actually look like? What are the core features of this new product? So the platform's big pitch would be built on 4 core features. First up, radical transparency, basically treating all government spending like open source code that anyone can look at. Second, direct democracy 2.0, using technology to let citizens vote directly on major laws. Third, first principles policy, where cold, hard data, not ideology, makes the decisions. And finally, free speech absolutism, making the First Amendment the absolute, unshakable core of the entire system. Now, this slide frames the proposed difference perfectly. On one side, you have the legacy parties, driven by old philosophies and lobbyists, and on the other, you have this hypothetical X party, which is pitched as operating on pure engineering principles and direct data. The claim is that it's not just a tweak, it's a fundamental rewrite of what government is even for. All right, Section 3, the unstoppable force. So on paper, the idea sounds disruptive, but what makes it a credible threat? Well, the argument comes down to a unique set of tools that no political challenger in history has ever had. First, we're talking about almost infinite financial resources. That means he could self-fund the whole thing without needing a single dollar from donors. Second, he literally owns X, the world's digital town square, giving him a direct, unfiltered megaphone to the public. And third, he has an army of millions of devoted fans who see him as a kind of visionary. But here's the catch, and it is a huge catch. That unstoppable force is on a collision course with maybe the most powerful and entrenched system in the entire world, American politics. This is the immovable object. See, the system has 3 great firewalls that are basically designed to crush any new challenger. First, you've got the duopoly's immune system, this whole web of ballot access laws and debate rules designed to kill third parties. Second is the ground game deficit. Politics is won by volunteers knocking on doors in Ohio, not by viral memes. And third, you have the Musk paradox. His greatest strength, his personality, is also his biggest weakness. His chaotic nature is an opposition researcher's absolute dream. So all this sets up the ultimate test of the entire disruption theory. Betting against old-school industries like cars and rockets is one thing, but this would be a bet against a 200-year-old system that runs the most powerful nation on Earth. When you boil it all down, there are really 2 main ways this could play out.
Is this a genuine revolution where technology finally reboots the creaking machinery of democracy? Or is it just a colossal vanity project destined to completely shatter against the hard, messy realities of political science? But here's the key takeaway, and it's so important. Whether a venture like this could actually win or lose is almost beside the point. The simple act of trying would change the game. By just introducing the idea, a new, unpredictable bug gets injected right into the establishment's code, and that alone shifts the entire conversation. Which leaves us with the final, massive question. Can a nation, with all of its history, its culture, and its human messiness, can it really be run like a startup? Or is politics the one system that is just too big, too complex, and frankly, too human to ever be truly disrupted?
If you enjoy breaking down big ideas just like this one, make sure you subscribe for more explainers that cut right through the noise.